we both say that this is like the best feeling, but the worst feeling all at the same time, because we're so in love one moment and then we're so ridden with guilt.
Welcome back to Other People's Lives. I'm Joe Santagato.
I'm Greg Dybec.
For anyone who would like to be a guest on our show, don't hesitate to hit us up. Our email is oplpodcast@gmail.com.
Today, we're speaking with a woman who reached out. The subject of her email reads, "I have been having an affair with my boss's husband, and we are in love." A little bit of her email here. It says, "I've been at my job for 5 years now and love it, and my boss. Throughout the 5 years of me being here, her and I have become the best of friends. We hang out at each other's houses. Our kids know each other. We invite each other to family events, etc." So we're going to learn all about how this affair with her boss / best friend, her husband, happened. And we've got the guest on the line. So thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I kind of just alluded to the fact that you become very close with your boss, but can you just talk a little bit more about that relationship before we talk about her husband?
Yeah, so I would say it's 5-year mark in January. So I left my old job, just wanted to work somewhere new. I wanted to work with a different crowd. So I went and I searched and I found a good job, and my boss, she seemed amazing. And as the time went on, I'd say about 6 months to a year in, we got really close at work. You know, we talked about things. We realized that we had a lot of interests that were the same and morally just on the same compass. And then from there, she started inviting me to her house for drinks, because at first, when we first met, she wasn't really drinking. And that's kind of the way that we just socially gather and hang out, is have drinks together. It's kind of awkward when we don't have drinks. I don't know why, but yeah, that's kind of where it stemmed from and started.
So going over to your boss's house, like, when did you get introduced to her husband?
I didn't get introduced to him until probably, I don't know. I had gone over a handful of times prior to that. So I didn't fully get introduced to him and talk with him probably till 3 to 4 months that I had already been going over to their house. He would come in and out, and say hello, but didn't at all.
So you mentioned your kids hung out. So you're in a relationship as well?
Yes.
You're currently in a relationship?
Yes.
Okay. Are you married?
No, I'm not married.
Okay. So it's like you have a boyfriend and your boss has a husband.
Correct.
Okay. Just wanted to set that scene. So, okay. So you met him a few months in. Do you remember what it was like meeting him? Was this sort of like an instant attraction?
So I seen him on her Facebook, and I don't know why, but he intrigued me for some reason, and I got some kind of feeling, and I kind of just tried to ignore it. And then when I seen him in person, it reignited. So then when I was thinking about it at home, I'm like, well, I'm going to try to talk to him the next time I'm there. And that's kind of where things stemmed.
Okay.
So were you trying just to have conversations with him in a friendly way, or immediately you're like, I'm attracted to this person, I want to see if they're attracted to me?
No, right away I was just talking as friends. I'm not very aggressive when it comes to that, especially since he's married, she's my boss, and I have a boyfriend myself. I felt different than a friendship, but I didn't want to pursue that. So, at first it was just all friendship. Hey, how's it going? How's the family?
Okay. Yeah, that seems like a scenario where there's so many pieces that are just like off limits, like don't do this, especially because it's your boss and the person that employs you. So if you didn't go into it with those intentions of being romantic, how did that develop? Did he come on to you, or did you guys just start getting closer over time?
Well, the friendship got really close. We started really talking about like deeper subjects, like, like love and morals, like what we do and what we don't believe in, all these things. And a lot of these things that we connected with and we agreed upon, and it just became a really, really good friendship. And we're both beings that are very loving and not, I guess, not very religious, but very spiritual. So we spiritually connect in like a whole nother level. I've never met anybody else that I could spiritually connect with like I do with him. So I wasn't going into it that way, but it ended up that way after, I'd say, like 6 months of talking. And I was out drinking with a girlfriend, and he was saying something, texting me, and I said, "Oh, I would love to do that with you and my boss." And he said, "Oh my gosh, what? I would love that." And it kind of stemmed just from there. So it was kind of like a flirty comment that wasn't really supposed to be serious, but I kind of was like also shooting my shot in a way to see if it would happen.
What do you mean? Like do what?
He said, he said, I think he said something along the lines of, yeah, and oops,
No,
sorry, I shouldn't have said the name.
we'll beep that out. Don't worry.
Okay. And we are gonna be fucking tonight, basically, is what he said. And I am gonna get my dick sucked. And I basically said, "Oh, I wish I could do that with you guys," or "I wish I could join," so something along those lines. And he was just like, lit up because he really is into that kind of stuff.
Did you think in that moment, because you are shooting your shot in a way, but did you mean that? Like, would you have wanted something to happen with the three of you, or were you worried that your boss would find out that you guys were texting this way?
No, it was my way of being like, I involved her because I didn't want to just like straight up be like, "Oh, I wish I could do that with you,"
Yeah.
But no, I would never want to do anything with her at all.
What made you send that? Because it feels like in these stories, there's always that moment, that spark that kind of sets off what's to come. And
Yeah.
like the fact that one, you're in a relationship, this is your boss, for you to send that message, or, I mean, it seems like you guys are kind of already talking that way. Were you worried or nervous? And I guess what made you take it to that next level?
So like I said, I was out with a girlfriend and we were having drinks, and her and I were talking, and I brought it up as like, I have been talking to my boss's husband for about 6 months now, and it's just been kind of like feeling weird about it, and I want to pursue it a little more. Like I want to kind of shoot my shot in a way. And she's like, "Do it, do it, do it." And so her encouragement on top of the liquid courage, I did it.
So from there, what happens? Is he actually trying to pursue like a threesome with you guys, or?
Well, no, because he knows that she wouldn't go for that. I mean, I guess he probably didn't want to ruin that, whole dynamic. It's a very messy and sticky dynamic. Maybe if it was with another woman that wasn't somebody that knew his wife, then possibly. But no, he went about it as just like flirting back with me. And from there, we basically flirted for probably, I don't know, a month. And then we made a plan to meet together and hang out.
which I'm assuming is code for the affair started.
Yeah. Yeah, the affair started, yeah.
Do you remember what you felt that first time it happened?
When I first was going into it, I wanted to shit my pants. I was so nervous. I was so scared, especially because he's also, like, I don't know, 16 to 18 years older than me. 18.
Wow.
So that in itself is like nerve wracking. I don't know him a whole lot. I only know him over text and what he tells me and what I know from what my boss tells me. So I was nervous, but I mean, I went there and I made it there. And after that, it was kind of like, well, shit, now what? Because he asked me, well, now what is this going to be? And I told him straight up, well, this can't be an affair. This can't be a full blown affair. Those were my exact words. I said we could meet up every once in a while. It could be a every once in a while thing. And
Isn't
we
that like
just
a full blown affair though?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like a full blown affair when I meant those words was like where we're meeting up all the time and it's happening for over like a span of a week or two.
Okay.
So what did it become? And this is currently still happening, right?
Right. So I mean it became a full blown affair.
Okay. And right now you are currently in a full-blown affair still with this man.
Correct. Yes.
How often do you guys see each other?
We try to at least once a week.
And how do you go about setting that up? And like it doesn't become suspicious to anybody?
Yeah, it does. A lot of times it can't be once a week. Sometimes it's once every other week, but we try to make it once a week. We go about it as we take the day off and nobody knows that we take the day off. Besides, I mean, my boss, of course, knows, but she doesn't know, like, why or where. And she doesn't know that her husband is taking the day off.
And where do you guys meet up?
We have a couple of spots. Sometimes we meet up at a park just to, like, talk and then go on walks. And then we also meet up at a hotel.
Okay. Would you say this is more than just sexual? Like meeting up and talking in a park? This seems like romantic. Well, I think your email said you guys love each other, right? You both feel that way?
Yeah, and that's why I had put in there that we had fallen in love. I mean, for me, it's definitely that. And from what I feel from him and what he's shown me, then yeah, I would say that it's love for me for sure. And I can't speak on somebody else, but he says that.
Well, how long have you guys been doing this?
For about a year now.
Okay.
And is there any plan to be like, we're going to be together?
That is kind of where we're always going back and forth because of just every situation and scenario that's involved. We have children, so we don't want to leave our situations right now because we have young children involved. And on top of that, we have mutual people involved, and it's just very messy. So we don't want to hurt anybody by any means, but we hope that eventually we can be together.
The other part of this is, the way you described your boss. This isn't just the person you work for. You said you became very close friends. You wrote best of friends in your email. Is this person still a very good friend of yours that you're actively seeing?
Yeah, and that's another reason why it's really hard on me because I get to thinking and she's never done anything to me and she's only been good to me and has helped me in a lot of situations. So I often get guilt tripped myself because of that. And I feel the only reason why I haven't ended the whole situation because this is not like my character, and I'm sure that's what everybody fucking says, but it's really not like my character. I think the only reason why I haven't ended things is because I truly love him. I truly care about him. I can't even think to end things with him.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously that it's easier to say now. You guys have like developed an actual sort of relationship in the dark, but in the beginning stages, you know, you kind of have a, you know, even before you send that text, like when you're out drinking with your girlfriend, like, you know, before that, where you guys are actually chatting like one-on-one and this and that, like during that time, before you're in love with this guy, I mean, you are making like sort of an active choice to, like, you kind of see where that could be going, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, like in hindsight. Sorry, I was just going to say like how all the little decisions add up to what is now insanely complicated and hard for you to get out of.
Yeah, and him and I actually talk about that as well. You know, we're very open when it comes to communication, and we both say that this is like the best feeling, but the worst feeling all at the same time, because we're so in love one moment and then we're so ridden with guilt and just know that we're doing wrong, but then we feel like we're not doing wrong because we are genuinely happy and we are genuinely at peace. But I know that there's other people involved, that if we want to be there, then we should just not have those people involved. And it's a lot easier said than done.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Therapy is a great way to take stock of your progress and help you set achievable goals for the next, let's say, 6 months. This year, yeah, it's halfway over. That's crazy, by the way. But yeah, this year's halfway over. Think about that. And for me, therapy is a tool that allows me to slow down. It allows me to understand what I want to achieve and accomplish with my time. I think the realization we all have is time is extremely limited. And we wish we could have more of it. But there is a way to get more time, in a way. Stay with me here. Because what I'm saying is, if you know how to maximize your time, if you know how to understand what it is that you want to achieve, what it will take to get there, and that gives you time back, in essence. On top of that, therapy in general has just given me a ton of tools. It has honestly made me a better version of myself. I thank therapy for that. I will continue therapy probably for my entire life for this reason. And if you're thinking about giving therapy a try, then definitely try BetterHelp. BetterHelp's great because it is entirely online. That means it's super flexible. That means that you don't have to commute to an office. So it is totally built around your schedule. Another great thing about BetterHelp is that you can switch therapists if you need to. This is something that's not easy if you're going to therapy in person, but BetterHelp will allow you to try different therapists, kind of cycle through until you find someone that really sticks with you, someone that you feel you can make a lot of progress with. And I think that's a super important part of BetterHelp as a whole, because they want to make sure that you are really connecting with a person, someone that you're going to be able to be open with. So you can head to betterhelp.com/OPL today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/OPL. You're going to get 10% off your first month. And honestly, if this is something that has crossed your mind, whether you've tried therapy in the past and maybe stopped, or you've just been thinking about starting therapy, or maybe haven't even thought about it, but this all sounds really good, check out BetterHelp and see if it's a fit for you. Every time I talk about ZBiotics, I feel like I'm just giving people this secret, this like cheat code that they don't know about. ZBiotics is a game-changing product that I use before a night out with drinks. Truth is, I do not recover like I used to after drinking. And with more responsibilities than ever in my life, I want to have nights where I go out and drink, but I also want to then have a productive next day. That's sort of the battle, right? The internal struggle. But ZBiotics has honestly changed that. ZBiotics is a pre-alcohol probiotic drink, and it's the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. I'm going to explain how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut, And it's this byproduct that leaves you feeling not so good the next day. A lot of people think that it's dehydration. So what ZBiotics does is it produces an enzyme that breaks this byproduct down. And in turn, you're going to feel good the next day. So if you make ZBiotics your first drink of the night, and of course, drink responsibly, then you will feel your best tomorrow. I take ZBiotics now before I go out and have any drinks at night, and I honestly feel a difference. This has truly been a game changer for me, and you can try this out too. You can go to zbiotics.com/OPL and you will get 15% off your first order when you use the code OPL at checkout. And ZBiotics is backed with a 100% money back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they will refund your money, no questions asked. So this is truly, truly worth the try. Vacations, weddings, birthdays, reunions. It's the summer. You maybe just go out and drink more because it's nice out. All occasions that you can try ZBiotics. Again, that's zbiotics.com/OPL. Use that code OPL at checkout and you will get 15% off. Enjoy. How do you shoulder that day to day? Like, I don't doubt that you guys are in love with each other, but how do you just every day kind of have that juggling act of, your partner, kids, your boss, who's also your friends, like you said, like being ridden with that guilt, but then still having that love. Is that a lot to take on every single day?
Oh, yeah, especially because I already have a very hard time with mental health as it is. It's very, very hard because I feel like I'm being pulled in every which way, and I feel like everybody needs me. I'm a mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a girlfriend, I'm a freaking side woman, whatever you want to call it. I have a lot of roles that I need to be in, and it seems like at all times. And then on top of that, you don't want to hurt anybody. You don't want to hurt all these people that I'm playing these roles to. I cry often and I go nuts and I feel like giving up on everything. I feel like giving up on being a mom. I feel like giving up on the affair. I feel like giving up on work. I feel like giving up on life. And it becomes really, really, really tough. But like I said, I don't know how to get out of it. I don't want to leave my relationship that I'm in now because I love him. But I also don't want to leave the affair because I love him in a whole different way. Like,
what's the difference?
Like I said, we connect spiritually like I've never, ever, ever connected with anybody. He understands me when, like, nobody likes my flaws. Nobody likes me. People love me, but nobody likes me. And he genuinely likes me.
Okay. So, did you ever think about you guys see each other you try to see each other every week, once a week or every other week.
Yeah.
Actually being together is very different. Like, do you think that you guys would, it would feel the same if you guys were spending every day with each other?
I think just as humans are, I don't think it'll be the same because, we have that time in between so we can miss each other. We have that time apart where, we don't really see the real bad parts of each other. We're going through a screen and basically talk over showing, and I'm a big person on actions speak louder than words. And that's a thing where I am conflicted with because sometimes I overthink and I'm like, well, he's not showing me enough. He needs to show me, anybody can say this and anybody can say that, but you got to show me. But there's only so much time that we can show each other. And whenever we are together, he does show me. He does show me that he cares and he does show me that he loves me. It's just, we have a lot of time apart.
So what if, I know you're worried about your relationship, you don't want to leave it, or, obviously for lack of a better term, you want your cake and sort of eat it too. Like, are you worried about like if people find out about this, wouldn't that be like way more detrimental to your family, the children, and everyone else's and their marriage too?
Um, I guess yes and no. To me, I think regardless, it would be very detrimental. I mean, even if we were to come out and say, hey, we love each other, hey, we want to be together, I think it would be just as hard if they were to find out without us telling them.
If I'm wondering if you could go back, would you have avoided this altogether, or do you feel that the love between you guys is so strong that you would still rather be in this situation?
A lot of times I think, what the hell did I get myself into and why did I do this? Just because of how many emotions are involved and how passionate I am. But I'm also, like I said, I'm very big on spirituality, and I'm a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. I don't believe in coincidence. And the way that him and I connect, I believe that if I weren't had to have done that, we would have connected some way, somehow, whether it be in this lifetime or another.
Do you think he's your soulmate, if you believe in that sort of thing?
I do.
But not your current partner?
Correct.
So then what would be keeping you in that relationship? Even if he stays with his wife, what would keep you in a relationship with somebody if you feel like this is not my person?
Because I am not trying to start over, and he's not a bad person. He's just not my person, and I don't know how to explain that unless you know. If you know, you know. And I don't want to lose him, and I know that if him and I aren't together, I'm gonna lose him.
Yeah, but you're kind of like making that decision when you're having an affair, no?
Yeah. Yes, 100%.
If you had to guess what this situation looks like in, let's call it 5 years, what do you think it is? Because it just seems like it's difficult for these things to sustain over a very long period of time. Like something's going to break, right?
Yeah, that's why I told him many times too, like, I don't want to get too comfortable, because when you get comfortable, things go wrong, and we just make sure that we're very, very careful.
But like
And
5 years down the line, you would
I told him
happily
about-
be in this position still? Like you would want that to be like your kids are older, you're with your partner, and you're still having this affair?
I honestly don't know what's going to happen in 5 years. I don't like the feelings that I have when I'm not with him about all this stuff. When I'm with him, it's great. But when I'm not with him, it a lot of things eat away at me. So I really couldn't tell you about the future. And that's what I tell him, the same thing, because, he's really big on, well, are we moving towards the same goal? I just want to know that we're moving towards the same goal, because if we are, then great. But if we're not, we need to be transparent about that. So we're moving towards, yes, we want to eventually be together. When will that be? No idea. 6 years is the minimum of when he will be with, or the maximum of when he will be with his wife still, because his youngest son is going to be 18 in 6 years, and he said that he plans on divorcing her once he's 18.
He's planning a divorce 6 years in the future?
Yeah.
Wow. That would be
But
a long
he
time to keep
told
this
me-
up, no?
No, yeah, that is a very long time. And I even told him that, well, I have a 4-year-old, so that is going to be even longer. That's getting into the double digits. And that's where he got discouraged and is like, well, the odds are very against us then, because I'm going to be 60 and you're not going to want to be with a 6-year-old. And I'm like, well, I look at 6-year-olds now and think they look pretty good.
What's the reason for waiting until the kids are 18? Like, I think it still would be like that would have an effect on them.
Oh yeah, regardless, it's going to have effect on everybody just because of the situation and the moral of it all. You know, it's not right. I mean, I guess it's not right for some people, but to the society, the social norms, it's not right. You know, and I have my morals and he has his morals, and we wanted to wait till they're at least 18 because then they're adults and we can explain things to them.
I'm curious. I mean, you say like moral spirituality, and like you just allude to, like, all right, society says like this is bad, don't do this, obviously don't have an affair, but like, what do you believe? Are you leaning towards like this is wrong, or like if this is your soulmate and you guys are in love, like there's something right about this? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like maybe you don't see it as wrong as other people might see it.
I don't know if you've like ever heard like it's so wrong, but it feels so right.
Sure.
That's kind of like how I feel. Like I said, when I'm not with him, I feel so wrong about it. I feel like, you know, we're not doing the right thing, the godly thing, the holy thing, you know. And then when I'm with him, I can't help but like not even see the world, not even hear the world. I'm with him. Everything that's going on doesn't matter. Of course, if my kids call me in a panic or an emergency, of course I'm going to be by their side. My kids are my world. But when I'm with him, it's everything else is silent.
Well, I mean, it's a very tough position, I guess, to be in, but I mean, I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, there's no answer right now. It seems like you're struggling for an answer every day, or hoping something reveals itself in the future.
Also, if you guys are like in love with each other, then like, of course it's going to be hard on a bunch of people involved, but you know, ultimately you're doing everyone a favor if you're actually in love with each other, and then you guys get out of your relationships and then everyone can kind of go their separate ways, because from what you're saying, it sounds sort of inevitable. He's planning on leaving his wife 6 years from now, and it sounds like you're planning on leaving your boyfriend in 14 years. I mean, I think just like, I don't know, that's a long time to like just kind of wait until the kids are 18. If you guys are in like love with each other, then like you should just probably be together, no?
Right. And let me get this straight. I can't say that, you know, I'm going to leave my boyfriend in 14 years, or if we're going to leave each other in 3 years. You know, I don't know the future, you know, and who knows, maybe this all may blow over and I may be with my boss's husband in a year and everything is fine. And who knows, maybe I cut everything off with my boss's husband in 4 years. You know, I don't know. And that's kind of why I came on today, because I'm genuinely in a spot where I'm just like, I want to know, but I don't know. There's so many feelings,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to hurt anybody or lose anybody, you know, and that's why I'm like keeping it a secret, because I'm hoping that eventually we can just talk about it and then go about it correctly. You know, I don't want it to just be like, oh my God, somebody found out and now we got to figure out how we're going to talk about these things. So I do worry about that. I really do worry about people finding out before we can just talk about it and figure things out, because I've been in situations where I'm like, nope, I'm ready to tell them I'm sick of this shit, I'm sick of being in this relationship, I'm not happy. But then it's like, I also think, you know, is the grass greener on the other side? No, not always. It's green where you water it, you know. But for years, I watered for me and my boyfriend, and I just got cheated on for 4 years, and that's kind of where this all stemmed. I was cheated on for a very long time, and I stayed loyal. Yeah, I stayed loyal, and I continue to be the good mom, the good wife, the not wife, but you know, the housewife, and And I just got fed up because I want to be taken care of. I want to be loved. I don't want to just be a mom. I'm more than just a mom.
Well,
And he makes me feel that way. He really makes me feel better about who I am, and he enjoys my flaws. He says your flaws make you human, instead of making me feel like I need to change my flaws, where that's what my boyfriend does.
yeah. Well, we've spoken to someone on the show who had an affair with his wife's sister, and they ended up together, and everyone knows, and they're all friends. So I don't know if the odds are in anyone's favor for something like that, but that's happened.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, but to Joe's point, he was like, we're in love and we're going to tell everyone. And they had kids too. And now, yeah, it's a weird dynamic, but it worked out. But no, I mean, to your point, yeah, there is no answer now. And, yeah, and obviously we don't have an answer for you. We're here to listen. But
yeah,
like you said, like you came on to kind of talk this out. I'm sure in some way, maybe it's helped to say this out loud for the first time ever. But we obviously appreciate that. Like some episodes have endings and answers, or you're looking back at an experience. And some episodes we get to hear from a person who they don't know what the answer is, or they don't know what the future holds, but they kind of let us peek inside their minds of something that is, unimaginable for a lot of people, or just in a very difficult spot, which, you're obviously in right now. But at the very least, we do appreciate the full transparency and honesty about your situation and the decisions that you've made and all the things that you're feeling.
No, thank you for allowing me to talk about it. I haven't talked about it at all this whole year to anybody, so it's nice.
Yeah, and just to echo what Greg is saying, we appreciate you coming on and being so honest, and yeah, we hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, you guys too.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, well, I don't necessarily know how that one's gonna work out.
I mean, it's not.
I think that someone planning a divorce in 6 years is a strange thing to do.
So I guess what's interesting is it's probably not strange. That's what's kind of crazy, is like what we just heard is probably happening a lot. Like we've had cheating stories.
But what is 18? Like to me, that seems just like
But I think people like put this logic in their minds of like, I think it's an excuse. I think it's an excuse to not make a decision right now.
Right. That's what I mean.
But I do think people are thinking that. I think there's a ton of unhappy marriages, affairs going on that people have no idea. And they probably are planning up to like when my kid goes to college, when this and that, like
then I'll finally be happy or something.
Yeah. Or finally be able to, or they think they'll be able to like then build up the nerve to do it. But when that time comes, they probably won't. Like this guy, I wouldn't be surprised if he leads her on of like in 6 years, like convinces her like 6 years or whatever, like I'm going to do it. My kid's going to be 18 and then doesn't do it. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know that you could keep something like this up for 6 years.
You have to get caught, right? Like,
or you just have to like
crumble under the pressure.
I don't know.
It's just
also
like
a year, even if you saw each other like every single week, that's not that many times to be meeting a person to be like, I don't know.
To know the person?
Yeah, I mean,
that was a good question that you asked, where it's like
you're going to be with them every day now. Like that's different.
That's very different. Yeah.
Like this, like, ooh, we're sneaking around type of thing is like, who knows?
That whole thing is just like a warning label of just like, if you're in that position of like sending that first text or doing that thing that's going to start a series of events, like just look how messy it gets. And like, it's crazy. And her case had red flags all over the place. Like you have kids, you have a boyfriend. This is your boss's husband. Your boss has turned into one of your best friends. Like if that doesn't present enough of an obstacle to like stop you from starting an affair, like I don't know what will. So that's crazy. I
don't know how that one's going to work out, but
I don't know.
We shall see. If you want to be a guest on our show, hit us up. Our email is oplpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your story and we will get back to you.
Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at OPL Podcast. Bunch of clips. You can engage with us there. And that is all.
See you guys next time.